Health Nuts, episode 24.
You're listening to Health Nuts with Dr. Chris Carr. Making lifestyle changes is hard for many people, and not knowing what to do or how to do it makes the task all the more daunting. Here at Health Nuts, we focus on helping you live a fuller life by discussing everyday health issues and exploring breakthrough solutions on how to overcome them. And now, here's your host, Dr. Chris Carr.
Welcome back to our second season of Health Nuts. I'm glad to have you back. Today, I have an awesome guest for you, and she's going to talk about stress and the effects on the body. And her name is Dr. Heidi Weinhold. I've got to give you some background on her. She is doing some amazing stuff both locally here in Pittsburgh and for the state of PA. Dr. Heidi completed her 4-year doctoral program in naturopathic medicine from Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine in Tempe, Arizona. In 2013, she received the Alumni Award from the Southwest College in recognition of her contribution towards the advancement of naturopathic medicine. In 2017, Southwest College further honored Dr. Weinhold by bestowing upon her an honorary doctorate of humane letters. For the past 12 years, she has served as a legislative chair for the Pennsylvania Association of Naturopathic Medicine, working with legislators to promote legislation to license naturopathic doctors in PA. A giant step towards this effort was achieved when the passage of House Bill 516 in 2016 took place. This provides title protection and registration for naturopathic physicians graduating from accredited colleges. Dr. Weinhold has a private practice in PA and is an adjunct professor at Chatham University in Pittsburgh. This past year, Dr. Weinhold represented the Association of Accredited Naturopathic Medical Colleges, promoting awareness of naturopathic education and their valuable and integral place in the medical community. So, Dr. Heidi, one of the reasons why, and first, welcome, because I do want to dive right into this. So, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a thrill. It's my first podcast.
I'm glad I got to introduce you to it. It's a good time. We're going to have a lot of fun. One of the reasons why I really loved what I was talking about you is me being a chiropractor. We had, back in the heyday, a lot of us, they went to jail for practicing. And so when I see what you're doing here, and just, it's kind of crazy that we have to go through this to get licensed in the state and what you've gone through. I mean, it's just the monopoly that is the AMA is strong. And I'm so impressed with what you're doing here. Okay. So I got kudos to you. My hat goes off to you. And that's really awesome. And you're fighting the good fight.
Oh, thank you. It's people don't like to give up power easily,
no.
But they're holding us to a very high standard now in Pennsylvania. Whereas before, anybody, regardless of their education or training, could advertise themselves as a doctor in this state. They could call themselves a naturopathic doctor without any training. And, this bill that just passed, it just recognizes our work. Whereas my colleagues, we all have undergraduate, bachelor degrees, and then we went on to complete a 4-year doctorate level program. And in that program, you're required to rotate 1,200 supervised clinical hours with other doctors. We do a lot of work and observe a lot of chiropractors. We firmly believe in chiropractic work and the importance of body work and keeping the spine aligned.
Right.
And we had to pass 3 days of board exams. So this is thrilling to finally be recognized, our doctorates in this state, and to be able to refer and collaborate with other practitioners.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, and it's kind of embarrassing that it's taken this long, to be quite frank. There's really no excuse for it besides that there is the powers that be, the stronghold they've had on the state. So I'm impressed, to say the least. So keep on keeping on.
Thank you.
So today we're getting into stress. Before we get into the topic, I always like to get a word of affirmation. What's a word of wisdom, maybe something you talk to your practice members about? What do you have to share?
I do believe, like, as far as stress and stress management, I do also believe, like, in the mind-body connection. I really love Dr. Wayne Dyer. I listen to a lot of his tapes, his CDs, because it really helps to turn around your perception. Because it's not that there's anything that's really that it these changes that we're asking our patients to make, it's not that they're hard to do, it's just easy not to do it. And just really taking the time to educate them about their perception, their thoughts. And now you can actually listen to him for free on YouTube. I mean, you can Google YouTube, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and boy, it helps, especially if you're getting ready to go into a stressful situation. You know, when I had to travel to Harrisburg, I would plug his CDs in all the time, and just the positive thoughts and to help you go forward.
Yeah, well, that drive to Harrisburg, I'm glad you had something on, because it's not the most exciting drive out there.
And then round trip it.
yeah, and then turn around and do it all over again.
It is, but it helped get you in the right mindset, because the one thing in life that is rewarded, I believe, is tenacity. That's the one quality I've found in life.
Well, especially part of the processes you've gone through, especially recently, I mean, you've had probably the door shut in your face on numerous occasions, and then if you would have accepted that, then you wouldn't have come anywhere close to being one of the forefronts to getting this done. Mm-hmm. So yeah, tenacity is key. It's easy for so many people to give up, right?
It is. And you don't want to give up. And that includes in all areas of your life. And there's a lot of people facing a lot of health challenges, and they need encouragement and reinforcement to keep going. Or maybe they've tried the conventional route and they've been frustrated, and you don't want to give up. There's always a plan B in life, and there's other ways.
Right. And if that doesn't work, you just find something else that does. And I was doing a workshop earlier in the week. One of the things I was talking about is that, we go through seasons, and some people might be going through the seasons where they're just dysfunctional and their body's just not working the way that it should, or maybe they're going through the season where they're having a hard time finding a job, or the season where they're dealing with their kids and turmoil with the family. The seasons passed and they go, and there's always another season coming at you. And I always say, you're doing better than you think you are, but we're our worst critics.
That is true. People are too hard on themselves. And really that kind of lends us into, really with the season, the holidays, there's so much excitement. Yeah. People are excited, but at the same time, the holidays also evoke a lot of stress and a lot of memories from the past, and people are dealing with grief. A lot of people pass during the holidays, and it triggers that stress and that memory. But I wanted to talk about too, just some natural things to help people get through the holidays.
So one thing that I want to pick your brain on.
Sure.
So stress is such a broad topic, and to the audience that's listening, everyone's under a form of a physical, emotional, or chemical stress. How is somebody recognizing that? How would you tell someone, like, hey, you're overly stressed? What are some signs they'd be looking for?
Well, if people are having trouble sleeping, they're having anxiety or heart palpitations, headaches, migraines, you probably see a lot of back pain. It's funny, there's even a correlation, people overextending themselves to others with lower back pain, upper neck tension, muscle tension, but definitely the heart palpitations, dry mouth, people getting nervous, anxious, or irritable. They're in lines and traffic, and there's going to be traffic in the holidays, and they're just when it gets inappropriate, and
it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. But there's natural ways to handle that, and just to make it a little bit easier.
So the person or the patient, they're exerting these symptoms of stress. Maybe they're anxious, they're musculoskeletal pain, they're getting these headaches, maybe digestive disorders. So now they're getting these symptoms. Now what?
So, and really, it's all connected. But there are some natural ways to help manage those symptoms a little bit more easily. But for anxiety, for people that are having anxiety, heart palpitations, I'm a fan of something called inositol, which it's made from a plant. It's natural. What I like about it is that it's calming, but it doesn't make you drowsy. So this is great, because the schools, they send me out to speak to other college students about anxiety and stress, and you can't fall asleep in class. And the same thing when you're at work, you have to be alert, and you have to, some of these things, natural agents for calming, like valerian root and kava, those are great for anxiety, but they can interfere with medications.
Big time.
And they also have sedative properties. So whereas inositol powder, it's safe. I actually have this is what it looks like.
It's right there.
It is right there. It comes like in a little container. I like the powder form because in the studies, they've actually done a lot of studies, even on PubMed, you can search it. But the dose was 3,000 milligrams a day. And that's too hard to get in capsule form. It's just way too many capsules. And especially when you named it, a lot of times with stress, there's a lot of irritable bowel. People aren't absorbing their capsules really well. So to do this, you can put this in water or tea. It tastes like sugar. Honestly, it tastes like powdered sugar. It's easy to take. And it's
patients they're going to love that then.
They love it because people love sugar around the holidays, right?
Amongst other days. Any day that ends in a Y.
It's true.
So the absorption rates, you bring up a good point with the powder. The absorption rate, obviously, the only way to get anything to get 100% absorption is through IV. Powder is pretty much the next best thing, no?
I do, because really some things with IV, you have to be careful because it does go directly in the bloodstream, and,
right.
and you have a higher chance of interactions or complications. But I love the powder form. It's easy. It's gentle. No known interactions. And boy, for women, it's great because they're doing a lot of studies with the inositol powder for conditions like PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. It helps to regulate their menstrual cycles. It also helps with insulin sensitivity. So, and how many patients do we know that are borderline diabetic or
right.
type 2? So this is very, very helpful. Other natural things that are helpful when you talked about absorption, I do use a lot of botanicals and herbs in my practice. I like to custom blend them because it's easier to take because everybody is an individual. And that way you can tailor it to the person. They're not taking 20 different things and it's more easily absorbed and it travels well. You know, in America, a lot of Americans aren't used to drinking a lot of these herbal teas. They have a bad taste. But when you put them in tincture form, they travel easy. It's easy to take. And I'll show you a couple, like this is an example. That's passion flower. You can get this over the counter.
Okay.
But passion flower is really good for muscle tension, which would complement with chiropractic. So so you can combine passion flower, skullcap, and tilia. Those 3 herbs. That's a really good mix. You can get them over the counter in even equal parts, just 20 drops of each one. You could put in, or you can custom blend it in one tincture. But boy, that skullcap is great for instant anxiety. It just helps relax that. It's also good for headaches, migraines. And the other thing is tilia actually comes from lime leaves. And tilia is a great one for heart palpitations from stress. So for these people at work with high stress jobs and they're getting heart palpitations, tilia really helps with that. So it's calming, but doesn't make you too drowsy at the same time.
One of the many reasons why I love your profession is because right away, what we're talking about has nothing to do with toxicity.
No, they're real gentle, so gentle, so safe.
Yeah, and it's a lot of times there's a time and a place. You know, if your blood pressure is 300 over 150, don't come in here to get adjusted.
No, go to the emergency room.
Go to the ER. But for the phase 1, you know, for the phase 1 hypertension, and they've taken a lisinopril for the rest of their life, where they had other alternatives, or the migraine headaches, and going to the Emitrex or the migraine, the Excedrin migraine. There's other options out there that aren't going to kill your gut and have secondary compensatory issues. So, I mean, right away, it's just phenomenal. These are some just bombs you just laid on us with. So the last 3, can you repeat those last 3? Because I actually suffer from headaches. I get adjusted, but I still get them. So that the skull cap was the headache one.
I love skull cap. In fact, I have a really good headache formula, and I will send you some after the program.
Love it.
Try it out. But it has some Jamaican dogwood in it, and it has skull cap. It's a combination of 4 different herbs. But boy, it doesn't taste great, but it works the best if you catch it right away. As soon as the headache comes on, you take 3 dropperfuls and an ounce of water, and then you wait 5-10 minutes. If it's still there, you repeat it.
Good again.
After
awesome.
2 doses, it knocks it out.
So now, we have the person, we've gone through the symptoms of stress, how they're recognizing it, a couple of treatment options. What else is out there? So the person that's suffering, what else do you have to say about them? Or
another thing is I am a believer in homeopathy, and I do incorporate some homeopathic remedies into my practice. Homeopathy, a lot of people aren't familiar with, but it's safe, it's natural, it's diluted to a really, really small dose. It's almost like the theory of like an allergy shot. I hate to say that, but you're given something very, very similar that person might be sensitive to. So for people that are traveling, because a lot of times you're getting ready to travel, or maybe you're going to meet relatives that you're not really excited to meet. Is that bad to say?
No, I'm not walking down that. No.
Yeah, no, you don't have to go. There's a homeopathic remedy called gelsemium. There's these little tubes. You can get these over the counter. They even have them at Whole Foods, at Sunnybridge. A lot of the local stores have them. But gelsemium, how about they found this remedy? This dates back all the way to Civil War kits. It would give soldiers courage before they went on the battlefield. So if you think you're going to have a battle with your family member and you're having anticipatory anxiety, take a little gelsemium. It really helps. It
calms you right out.
It calms you right down. And I used to take that remedy all the time before like big tests or exams. It's great for test anxiety. And another common one just to throw out, because a lot of people do, I don't know why this happens, but a lot of people do pass around the holidays, or maybe it brings up an old heartache or the loss of a loved one. And there's a homeopathic remedy called Ignatia. And that remedy is really good for heartache and grief. And that's just a very, very gentle remedy, but it just helps kind of lighten the heart there and help them through a difficult time.
We have an article out in my hot seat while the patients are waiting for treatment, and it's from the AHA, and the season for heart attacks is December, and they're the largest couple weeks out of the entire year, the last 2 weeks of December, for cardiovascular accidents. And that's when, so you're right, the heartache takes place around this time, and I couldn't agree with you more. And actually, the research is there that shows it, so we're beating on the right path.
That's, in fact, it's interesting. When they used to do the Dean Ornish program about the diet, what they don't talk about is that people get a lot of counseling during the Dean Ornish program. Like there's a huge correlation that they found out between the counseling and the emotional heartache, grief, and heart disease and heart attack. It goes hand in hand. Maybe the diet part wasn't as big as we thought. Maybe it was even more was that these people were getting help for their grief. And
well, the emotional stress, it's so hard. Physical stress is at least you can gauge it. I mean, if you see a hematoma on your arm, you can fairly confident you know where it came from. But an emotional stress, you can't see your insides. You can't see your gut inflaming and toxicity taking place. And it plays a huge toll. And then hormone-wise, it's just a disaster.
Right. It throws everything off. Stress, it triggers autoimmune. It lowers your immune system. There's so many. It's so important to get that in check. And there's also like a whole group of herbs called adaptogens. Whereas in naturopathic medicine, it's a whole class of herbs that just helps your body adapt to stress, whether physically, mentally, emotionally. It helps with stamina. So if you're getting ready to go through a difficult time, I know when I was in naturopathic school, I would take these herbs like right before finals, because it's like you're running a marathon and you're studying, you're working hard, and it helps. Yeah,
the adrenals are just firing nonstop, and then the fatigue is setting in.
But boy, stress never ends. Then you get out in life.
They said it in school.
School's hard, but man, life is tough.
Getting the license was the easy part. I'm like, you're out of your mind. I haven't slept in a week. And then they weren't kidding.
That's right.
They knew what they were talking about.
That's right. I can know it. But there's the ginsengs, ashwagandha, like those types of herbs, rhodiola, those are all considered adaptogens.
Now, with these homeopathies, so outside that, the counseling in your practice with the naturopathic, the herbs and the remedies, what about nutritional? What could they be eating that could be causing stress on their environment? And what could they eat that would do the opposite?
It's challenging because during the holidays, we're exposed to so much sugar. And boy, we're getting way too much sugar in our diets. And I just came away from a recent naturopathic conference, and of all places, Hershey, PA. Which are surrounded with sugar. Yeah. But it was really interesting. But they were talking about the hot topic right now is the benefit of the ketogenic type diet, which is really, for years, we kept talking about how fat was bad for us. If you didn't want to get fat, don't eat fat. And that couldn't be further from the truth. And really the big culprit was sugar.
Right.
And, really focusing on more healthy fats, and actually increasing healthy fats help decrease sugar cravings. So for those that have a real sweet tooth around the holidays, actually eating like the good fats, things like avocados, really good olive oil. When you have a good olive oil, you can almost taste like grassy in the back of your throat.
Right.
And that has like the same anti-inflammatory properties, almost like aspirin. And that oleic acid and salicylic acid are very similar. And that's what you want to look for. That's when you have a good olive oil.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that food. With hypertension, we were focused on salt, and then we were focused on fat, and it was like sugar got this free pass. And
right.
all of a sudden, we're like, well, we've been doing this non-fat craze and this low-fat craze in the early 80s, yet we're the second most obese country in the world. So obviously, that wasn't the answer, and we're one of the most sickest countries on the planet. So the healthy fats, it's what I preach as well. I cannot agree with you more. The healthy fats, the coconut products, the oils, the avocados, nuts and seeds, things like that.
And really, in a lot of vegetables in the wintertime, people tend to back off. But a good way to turn that around is really even try roasting your vegetables. Put it on a baking sheet with a little bit of olive oil. It's easy. Forget about it for 15, 20 minutes until it's fork tender. And then incorporate maybe a little bit of lean protein. And it's satisfying. It's filling. And it brings out the natural sugar in the vegetables by roasting them that way.
By doing it that way.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. So one thing I want to pick your brain on, because also what goes in hand with the holidays, we were talking about the cardiovascular disease, the heart attacks, but depression as well. Yes. So for mood stabilizers and things of that nature, because I think the research I saw was we make up 5% of the world's population, yet we're taking about 92% of all the antidepressants that are manufactured, around that statistic. So for those people who are on antidepressants, who are really depressed around this time of year, what can they do and how can they take back control of their life around November and December?
Do really, they've done interesting studies even in England where cognitive therapy and exercise worked better than an antidepressant for depression, especially seasonal affective disorder. And it's even this time of year. It's like old memories, grief, and then the change in seasons. It's just, it affects people differently. And a natural way to pick that up, it really is, it's exercise, getting those endorphins up. There is a lot of research also with St. John's wort. St. John's wort has gotten a bad rap, but in some of those studies where it wasn't effective, they were studying it for conditions it was never meant to treat. And, St. John's wort, it really is helpful for mild to moderate depression, but for it to work, it has to be standardized. So when you look for St. John's wort, the botanical name for it is Hypericum. And they call it Hypericum perforatum because when you hold the leaf up of the plant to the sunlight, the leaf, there's holes in there. It's perforated. So I remember it because it like lets the light in. And you kind of feel that way when you take this product. But you want standard 0.3% hypericin, and you want at least 300 milligram servings twice a day for it to be effective. And normally it does take for up to about a week to kick in. But that really is my favorite for depression, for mild to moderate depression. And I'm a big believer. I love Wayne Dyer. You can get him for free, and he helps turn your thoughts around and your perception, and the way that you look at things makes a big difference. And if you can just turn your thoughts around, everything else follows.
Yeah, that self-talk is, I think we all have some form in our life. We have had a negative self-talk or the I can't, the I won't attitude. And it's, for those that are going through major depressions, they hear that constantly all day long, is that very defeated. And the positive self-talk, positive self-esteem is such a huge issue, or such a huge takeaway from that. What about any other tips for that? So somebody who's going through the depressive state, so they've gotten some of the supplements squared away, they're working on self-talk through listening to various speakers. Do you have anything else?
I recommend homeopathy. I think homeopathy is great. For homeopathy to really work, it should be customized to the person. And also just breathing, like taking time, like people don't recognize, but you get stressed and you hold your breath. And when you breathe real shallowly, you force yourself into that sympathetic state, that fight or flight. And you can actually get out of that by just the breath, by that deep abdominal breathing, slow inhales and exhales. It forces your body into that parasympathetic state. And that's where all healing occurs. And I'm sure you see it when people are depressed, they have more pain. And, their chiropractic adjustments aren't going to hold as well if they're depressed and they're tense. And it all works together.
Yeah, it's a great takeaway. I couldn't agree with you more with that. And I see it this time of year. You're right. They don't hold their adjustment, or they'll come in and get adjusted, yet their nutrition stinks. They're miserable with their job. They're having a hard time at the house, and they just have a hard time really getting the results that they're looking for because there's all these outside factors that haven't been addressed. So moving on, I've got to throw some different questions at you now.
Okay.
3 things that make you a health nut.
3 things that make me a health nut. Really, it's my passion. I love what I do, so that makes it easy for me. And just watching people and seeing them get results, that helps you move forward. And I'm a big believer. When I was younger, I had horrible eczema and allergies, and boy, one of my biggest triggers was the foods that I was eating. So for me, I'm really sensitive to dairy products, and I have to really watch milk, cheese. That sets me off. So I believe in the diet part of it. Even as a young child, I started learning how to meditate, how to breathe, and boy, that has carried with me through my life. And I just, I can't speak. I can speak about these things because I've used it for myself, and I know it works, and I'm passionate about it. And I'm a big believer in body work and chiropractic. I've seen emotional releases from people getting chiropractic adjustments. When you talk about mind body, it's all connected, and it's so important to incorporate it.
Yeah, we don't have Wi-Fi in our body. We are wired head to toe. We don't have FiOS going on inside.
Well, would it be a good thing to see everything that was going on in there?
I would not want to. I won't be able to keep up with it.
Really? It's too much.
Best advice you ever got?
Oh, geez. I don't know, but it's probably from listening to some of these Wayne Dyer CDs, but also from my mother. She taught me early age, there's always a plan B. Yeah. And for those people out there that are going through a tough time, part of the frustration and anxiety, depression is because things aren't going out the way you think they're supposed to. But really, sometimes it's direction. And sometimes there's blockages or things in front of you because you're meant to pursue things at a different angle. And it turns out way better than you ever could have dreamed of.
Yeah. So if you're out there listening and you are just in one of those seasons right now where depression's taken hold, you're really just frustrated at work or at the house, Doc, what can you share with them?
I say get help. A lot of times when people are depressed, they isolate themselves. And probably one of the first things to do is pick up the phone, talk to somebody, reconnect, and make an appointment. Get some help and turn this around, because there's so many things that you can do.
And for those of you out there, so a lot of our listeners are locals. So if somebody's looking for you, how do they find you?
They can find me. I have an office right here at Peters Township by Donaldson's Crossroads. My office number is 724-941-7701, or you can check me out online at drheidi.net.
That is great. One of the best podcasts I've had on here in my 24 plus episodes, and I'm looking forward to the second season. What a great way to start this off with you and just that info that you shared and you got to drop on the audience. So Dr. Heidi, thanks so much for giving back today.
Thanks, Doc. You made it really easy.
That's the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
We'll do it again sometime.
Thank you.
And we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a blessed week. Bye now.
So, you've heard from the experts yourself this episode and have gotten some golden nuggets on health. There is so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to pghcw.com. Again, that's pghcw.com, and sign up for our newsletter where you'll receive free info on how to get and stay healthy. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Health Nuts with Dr. Chris Carr. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and please leave a review.